Hey, good evening. Welcome to another edition of Meteorology Lab. We've got a Sunday evening here, and this is exactly what it looked like out there this evening. Just another clear sunset January here. And let's take a look underneath the clouds. Switch over to the charts, and you can see that we're starting to become under a little bit of a south flow here in Texas. Usually when we're very early in the return flow cycle, we've got winds kind of out of the southeast, kind of like this, light and variable, and then the next day they'll progress to a stronger south wind. But looking up north, we've got another Alberta Clipper coming in. We were looking at this on the GFS yesterday, and there it is, and we can see that there's more cold air behind that. We're down into the looks like single digits to below zero. There's the zero line right there. So north of that, up in Saskatchewan and Manitoba, temperatures are below zero. And looking out on the east coast, there goes our receding high pressure area. And in between, we've got southerly flow kind of picking up ahead of this next system. But you can see over the Midwest there, we've got an isentropic lift pattern. And that's because of this warm front from Kansas City down to the Ozarks. And we've got flow kind of like this just above the surface. And that gives us an area of upper level lift ahead of this next Alberta Clipper there. So quite a bit of snow showing there on the surface charts, and visibility is down to about half a mile to a mile and a half or so in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. And let's take a look out west. Things look pretty quiet out in Oregon and California there. In fact, it's a little bit mild in that region. We've got 40s in the high deserts of Nevada. And let's look at the other charts and see what we have. There's our pressure, isobars, and thickness. So this is pretty cut and dry. There's the cold front, and the warm front is probably something like that. And then we would have an occlusion right in that area right there. So classic Alberta Clipper driven by this 1050 millibar high coming out of Saskatchewan. And this will just kind of take a track, likely probably something like that, towards the northeast U.S. or the Atlantic seaboard. This high will spread in behind it across the Great Lakes and Midwest, and we'll probably get a little bit of a push of cold air into the South Plains. But looks pretty quiet in the western U.S. We do have a storm system offshore, though right in this area here. So this is our next system, and looking at the long wave pattern, it looks something like this. So likely we're going to see this system head towards Washington or British Columbia. And then we'll have the cold front itself coming onto the coast of Oregon and Washington. All right, on the other charts, we're not going to see a whole lot happening. The radar mosaic looks like that, outlining the position of the Alberta Clipper there. These are all snow showers for the most part. The 200 or the 300 millibar chart showing kind of a meridional pattern. There's our long wave right there on the west coast, and we've got flow around that ridge like this. 100 to 110 knot flow through the Dakotas. And then we have outgoing, very, very strong flow. Yeah, check this out. 200, I think that's 200 on the dot right there at Goose Bay, and that looks like 150 there, but some impressive winds there. So obviously the flights coming in from Europe, they're likely bringing that very far north or very far to the west. In fact, I don't know, why don't we take a look? I'm kind of curious. So we'll go to FlightAware and check out the tracks for this evening. And we'll take that from London, EGLL, to JFK. And we'll see what comes up here. Let's try to find a flight that's in the air. Okay, looks like we got this guy here, 747, British Airways. And there's the track there. So this is very southerly. The 200-knot wind, jet stream winds are up here. And normally the flights do come onto the Newfoundland coast and the Maritimes. But this guy is going pretty far south, almost all the way down to the Azores. So that's what you have to do to avoid the headwinds there. And let's check out the flight times. Looking at this thing here, 7 hours, 43 minutes. And let me see what it normally is. Probably have to go way back to find that. Well, I'm going to probably just take a guess and say that's about 7 hours, 15 minutes, or right around there. All right, let's take a look at the soundings. I'm going to take a look at Goose Bay here. And this is showing 210 knot winds right there. Yeah, that's going to be at 300 millibars there. So you don't see that very often. I would think that the record is somewhere around 250 knots. And usually February is going to be the month where we get those strong winds. But yeah, the photograph, you can see how drawn out it's out here. There's the 75 knot ring, and these winds are just phenomenal there. Okay, let's check out the satellite. And then I'll check back in on the chat and make sure everything is good. Where's our satellite? There's pivotal weather. There it is. Okay. So that's a look at the Goes East satellite. So those strong jet stream winds are in this area right there. In fact, yeah, you can see pretty strong motion on these cloud tags. Okay, let's see what we got going on. Wow, pretty good turnout tonight. We got Fun with Tech here. Hope everyone is doing well. We got the S. Kinney in Southern Oregon, Mr. Manlet, reporting it was snowing early in the Rockford region. Yeah, they're being affected there by that Alberta Clipper. Bill Johnson reporting fluffy snow falling in Milwaukee, 6 to 9 inches. Electric Dog is here, reporting a fine powder of snow. Fred Reamer says Skull Vikings. Adam Davis reporting single digits with 6 inches of snow in Clarion, Pennsylvania there. Robert Archer is here, and Burl H. Mr. Manlet reporting the whole state of Illinois is under a winter weather advisory. Sue M. in Indiana next door reporting more snow overnight, 4 inches. Robert Archer looking forward to the incoming snow and then heavy lake effect. Fred Reamer making weather observations at Grand Forks. Got Carl Berghoff here. David Moore is seeing 50% chance of freezing rain in the Metroplex. Yeah, we'll have to take a look at the NAM. Sue M. asking about pivotal weather. The precip charts gives water, but now snow. So need to convert that to snow equivalent. Precipitation chart gives water, but now snow. I'm sorry, I don't understand the question. Carl Berghoff, congrats Fred on the Vikings win. Electric Dog reporting buffering. Fred Reamer, Eagles are a good team. Carl Berghoff rooting for the Saints. Buffering, okay. Yeah, we dropped about 319 frames. You can see that here. But it looks like we're doing okay right now. Let's... Whoa, yeah, get a little psychedelic effect going. Okay. Let me scroll through here real quick. I guess we got the Super Bowl coming up in a few weeks here. Anybody got my email? Yeah, that's going to be service desk at weathergraphics.com or tim.vasquez@weathergraphics.com. I do have all my email caught up. It got stacked back up again once again with about 30 emails, and I've still got to go through that once again. But the big queue is gone, and right now we're just waiting on the books, the Instability and Scuti and Hodograph book, and that is in print, and it's going to be here likely sometime next week. So we're just about done with this process of getting that book underway. Carl Burkhoff has got an email address. Yeah, I think that one will work. That's got Tim Vasquez without the dot. I think that one will work. Robert Archer reporting water spouts over Lake Michigan. Tricia and Lou, can you show snowfall totals? I'll try to work that in. Chaser Con there. If rain chart shows 0.5, but you know it'll be snow. Well, typically, if you know it's going to be 0.5, you can typically use the 1 to 10 ratio. So that's going to give you 5 inches there. Typically in the western Midwest and the northern plains, they tend to get more of a dry snow. Pretty much up in this area here. So you might want to use 10 to 15 or maybe even 10 to 20 in some of that region. And I believe some of the pivotal weather charts have different, I think they've got different ratios there. Okay. Yeah, Bill Johnson mentioning a little bit about that conversion. All right. So, yeah, there's the Alberta Clipper coming south. Let's check out the dynamics, and I'll go to the 500 millibar heights and vorticity. So this is one way we can look at the upper level energy that's causing forced lift. And right now it's looking like this. So this is showing we've got kind of a channeled flow, and the polar front jet is going to fall right in that area. And very likely we have a maximum right in this area here, because you can see the very high cyclonic vorticity values right there over Minnesota. And ahead of that, we're going to find an area of strong upward motion right in this area here. So Wisconsin and the Twin Cities and northeastern Iowa are right in the path of that. And this is also part of the left front quadrant right there. So there's the left rear quadrant, and there's the right rear and the right front. And you probably remember that from the textbooks. But since this is a curved cyclonic flow, these are actually what are going to be dominant right here, the left side. So this is a pretty good setup here for strong forcing from Minnesota up to the Great Lakes. Okay, so let's let me get some charts set up here. We want to look at the snowfall chart, and I'm going to look at the NAM for that one. So let me see if I can get that underway. Okay, there's the NAM. We're going to look at the 10 to 1, 24-hour snowfall. And we're going to look at, let's see. I guess we'll try snow depth. And then maybe I'll just take a look at freezing rain on top of that. Okay, so we got a few charts to look at. Okay, NAM. This is our mesoscale model here showing the 24-hour accumulated snowfall as of tomorrow around midday. And we can see that we've had about anywhere from 1 to 6 inches. It looks like some higher amounts in the Green Bay area right there. And it looks like a higher amount south of Mattoon, north of Paducah. Looks like maybe about 6 to 8 inches there. And let's roll that forward. This will kind of show you the snow track. So kind of a heavy area south of Terre Haute and Indianapolis, and also in the Lake Michigan area. And also getting some snow there in Kansas and southern Missouri. And looks like East Texas also picks up some, so we're going to try to cover a bit of that. That's not quite here, but we might get a piece of that. And the snow goes all the way to the northeast U.S. right there. And let's look at snow depth. This is a similar chart, except this is what's predicted to be on the ground. It takes into account previous snowfalls. So after everything's said and done, northern Michigan or northern Wisconsin is going to have probably about 6 to 10 inches. And then the Chicago area looks like about 3 inches there. And then very little accumulation down in Texas. Looks like maybe about a quarter to a third of an inch down in this area here. But it looks like from Lufkin to maybe Austin, San Antonio, and Uvalde and Del Rio, maybe getting some snow there. But behind that, looks like maybe a little bit of dry slotting in the Dallas and Oklahoma City area. And we'll check out freezing rain. Not really a problem anywhere, just a few spotty amounts from Kansas City down to Texas. So that's not going to be a factor. So I guess we'll go ahead and just put it together. Bring up the surface chart here. So here comes our Alberta Clipper coming south, very active there. 1055 millibar high coming in from Saskatchewan. And you can see snow showers up in the UP of Michigan, Michigan itself, and Wisconsin, but not any heavy precip. For example, down on the bottom, you can see the scale here. We're not showing the higher amounts, so we're not expecting... Well, this is the GFS, though, so GFS is not going for any really heavy amounts, except maybe just localized snowfalls up there around Lake Michigan. So this Alberta Clipper will continue pushing south, coming through the Dallas-Fort Worth area tomorrow night, and then to East Texas overnight. And there's our mixed precip in the Austin College Station area. 1052 millibar high coming in, very strong there. So lots of cold air advection coming into the Midwest and the Mississippi River Valley. And there goes the outgoing Alberta Clipper low. And you can see that pushing out into Quebec there. For midweek, there's the high pressure right there. And that'll dry things out and just cold weather, some very cold nights once again. And then when you get the southwest winds picking up in the Central Plains, so warm up for around Thursday. And things getting active on the northwest coast on Thursday. And looks like we get one wave coming across the Rockies on Friday. And we can see that emerging on the other side on Saturday. So cyclogenesis right there in Colorado. And looks like telltale signs of a frontal thermal gradient in Arizona there. So I think we're looking at something like that right there for fronts. And finally, the system pulls out of Texas on Sunday there. Got some pretty good upslope there in the Denver, Colorado Springs, and Goodland area right there. And there goes our low into Missouri on Sunday. Pretty good deformation zone to the northwest of that low there in the Omaha and Des Moines area. So it looks like we'll get some pretty good snowfalls from Omaha up to the Quad Cities and maybe Madison and Green Bay. And then here comes another wave coming in from the west on Monday. And down to the south, maybe some showers there in the southern U.S. So we're going to get into more of a zonal pattern here with west to east systems. And then maybe a little bit of Arctic push coming in, kind of mixing in. So there's our Pacific system right there in Nevada. Here's our outgoing Pacific system there in the Great Lakes. And then here's our Alberta Clipper up there in Minnesota. So kind of a complex pattern there. So the Alberta Clipper next week around Wednesday and Thursday kind of holds in place, waits for the Pacific system to come through. And there it is right there. Probably the frontal system's looking something like that. You can see the very strong upslope flow there in the Central Plains. And up here is the Canadian high. So this is basically waiting for the southern system to push east. And there it goes. Pretty well developed, good inverted trough into the Mississippi River Valley. And looks like the GFS this time, compared to yesterday, going with more precip up in the Central Plains on the 26th and 27th there. And this will come out through Alabama and Georgia around the 28th, 29th. So it looks like some winter weather for the Central Atlantic right there. And looks like maybe some showery snow in the Ozarks here. You can see that 540 closed contour right there, indicating an upper level low. So probably some very good lapse rates, good instability, and that's what that represents here. Okay, and then after that, just kind of a cold pattern. 1030 millibar high over the northern Rockies, and that'll continue pushing some cold air southward during that period. Okay, so that's about it. Yep. Okay, let me take a quick look at chat here. Little discussion there about the snow. Talking about Terre Haute. You can have some fun with those French towns in southern Louisiana. Cold, snowy, and windy in South Dakota there, Thomas Fortner. Robert Archer mentioning the ECMWF has that low way up in Wisconsin. Home of Columbia Records. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I thought that town sounded familiar. Jeff Krob mentioning a town on southern Mississippi coast. Goucher. Very good. Okay. I think that's about all I got for tonight, so I appreciate you all watching, and I haven't done too much with the tools tonight because I've had to do some stuff outside the house. Things have been kind of busy today, but maybe I'll have some more time tomorrow night. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, I appreciate you all watching the webcast, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Take care.